Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Anne-Marie and today I'm sharing how I created a presentation box for each set of a set of 6 cards for the final challenge of level 1 of the Altenew Educator Certification Program. I'll take you step by step through this process and show you just how easy it is to create these boxes and present these sets of cards as a gift. Let's begin now. I'm starting off with a piece of craft cardstock measuring 8.5 inches by 9 7/8 inches. And with my scoreboard, I am scoring at 1 inch and 2 inches on all 4 sides. Then I'm going to cut some notches away. This diagram shows on all 4 corners, I'm going to cut away 3 little squares from each corner. So starting with 2 cuts up to the second score line, cutting 1 square away and 2 squares away, and the same on the other side, cutting 1 square away and 2 squares away. Now I'm going to miter the little tabs and also miter the flap that's going to fold into the box. And I'll do the same for those 2 long ends. On the opposite side, I'm going to repeat that process, cutting up to the second score line, cutting away 1 square, then 2, mitering those corners and the tabs, and repeating it on the opposite side. Right, then I'm going to go ahead and fold all those pieces inwards, and with my scoring tool, I'm going to burnish all those creases so they're nice and straight and gives the box a much better finish. I'm folding in those little tabs and scoring those as well, and just making sure that everything is complete. I'm then attaching some strong double-sided tape to the outer flaps, and then with some liquid glue I'm going to fold in one of the little tabs, apply some liquid glue to the tab, and then fold the 2 corners together to create the corner of the box. Hold it for a couple of seconds while the glue takes hold, and then carry on repeating with the same on all 3, the other 3 sides. Make sure that you join your corners together to create nice straight edges. From there, I'm going to then remove the tape from those edges. And what I like about the design of this particular box is that those flaps fold in to create a nice strong edge or side of the box. So there's a double layer of cardstock, which makes for a better finish. And then I'm taking my bone folder and just making sure that everything's pressed down and stuck well and all in place. Now, to create the box lid, the process is very similar. I'm starting with a piece of cardstock, 7 1/16 of an inch by 8 7/16 of an inch. And I'm scoring on each side at 5/8 of an inch and 1 1/4. So that's 5/8 of an inch and 1 1/4. I'm then going to repeat the same process mitering the corners, cutting off the edges. You'll see here that I have used one of my nesting rectangle dies, and I'm going to cut a window out of that with my die cut machine. From there, I'm going to then burnish, fold and burnish all the edges, apply double-sided tape, exactly as we did with the base of the box. Because I want this lid to be see-through, we will be applying some clear acetate or plastic sheet so that it forms a window. What I decided to do here was to use a Versamark pen, which is like the ink pad, but just in a pen form, and just draw along the edge so that I could add some gold embossing powder to that edge, just for a bit of interest, as I have used gold embossing powder as a focus in the card set that I've made, the masculine card set. So I'm just bringing over the same design to make it all look cohesive. And when I've finished pouring the embossing powder on, I'm going to heat up my heat tool and melt that embossing powder until it's nice and gold and sharp. One of the requirements in our challenge was to use some recycled materials. I always keep the plastic from my stamps and dies that I purchase. They're really useful. And I decided to use some of this plastic instead of acetate sheets for the window area. So I'm removing the strong double-sided tape. I have cut a piece of plastic to the correct size and I'm attaching that to form my window. From here, I'll be doing the same process again, folding in those little tabs, using some liquid glue, holding them for a bit, and bringing the two corners together to form the box lid. I'm now taking the double-sided tape off the edges and folding them in to create a nice strong square shape for the lid, a nice sturdy box. I'm using my pokey tool to help me get the release paper off the double-sided tape. And there I have my box. Now, to add a closure to the box and a tag, I got out my inks, the same inks that I'd used for the cards. I've cut a small tag from the Altenew tag set of dies, and I'm using some finger daubers in 3 different colors to ink blend a sort of mottled effect over the card, tying in the same colors that I used for this is the tag for the feminine card set. I'm now going to take some I'm going to take some VersaFine Onyx Black ink, stamp a sentiment just for you on top of that, and very quickly, although this is a dye ink, I can use some clear embossing powder over that before it dries completely and heat set it just to give a nice clear finish to the sentiment. I cut a 1-inch strip for the belly band, and we'll put those together in a moment. Moving on to the masculine box, using a scrap piece of navy cardstock from my stash, and I'm using the Altenew Mega Labels Mega Label Love Set. One of the sentiments I'm stamping in Versamark ink onto that cardstock, and then using my gold embossing powder to cover that sentiment, pop it back in the bottle, and then use my heat tool to melt the embossing powder in. And there's my first sentiment, which I will attach to the tab. Right, so the belly band that I've made is 1 inch wide by about 12 inches. I'm attaching that around the box, just molding it around the box, not too tight. You want to be able to lift it on and off, but you also want it to be strong. I'm using some jute to tie. The jute is also from a previous parcel that I had received, and as we all do as crafters, I collect those sort of things to use on an occasion like today. So I'm tying that around the box, zhuzhing it around and tying a bow, making it look pretty and presentable. I'll just add a little bit of glue at the back so that jute doesn't move off the belly band, and then trim the edges of the ribbon. And when I'm happy, I can add the cards into the box, put the belly band back on, do a little bit more zhuzhing, cut the ends of the bow, and there we have a box. To create the belly band for the feminine set of cards, the process is exactly the same. Wrapping that around, not too tight, making sure that it moves easily. And then I will put my cards into the box, pop on the lid, pop back the belly band. And digging into my stash, I found some ribbon remains from parcels and maybe some flowers that I'd received that I've kept. So there again, recycling what I have. And I'm applying yellow, orange and pink ribbons. Those are the colors predominantly in the set of cards. I'm attaching those just with some double-sided tape at the back, wrapping the last ribbon around, just to make it look pretty. And then I'm going to attach my tag with some double-sided tape onto the ribbon. And then off camera, I created a pretty bow with the rest of the ribbons. And I'm just going to attach that with some liquid glue. Hold it in place for a bit until the glue starts to dry. And there we have the 2 sets of cards in their little boxes. Final touches, trimming the ribbons. And there we have our 2 pretty little boxes, great for presenting the sets of cards. I hope you've enjoyed this easy project. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to sharing more videos with you in the future. Bye for now.